popularly known as Tiger Pataudi. एक आंख से इंडिया को कैप्टन भी किया, क्रिकेट भी खेली.
I think I was very lucky in that sense that support was forthcoming.
Why is it, Tiger, that both in Pakistani and Indian cricket, there's a lot of intrigue?
Oh, I think you'll find there's plenty of intrigue in the West Indies, in South Africa, in England, everywhere.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PJ Mir's official YouTube channel. आपके सामने जो मैं बड़ी देर से कह रहा हूँ कि एक इंटरव्यू बड़ा क्लासिक इंटरव्यू है और ये है मंसूर अली खान नवाब ऑफ पटौदी, पॉपुलरली नोन एज टाइगर पटौदी. ये इंग्लैंड में आए तो इनका मैंने एक इंटरव्यू किया और बड़ी कैंडिड इन्होंने बातें की. अंग्रेज़ी में इंटरव्यू है और ये एक ऐसी शख्सियत हैं कि कई लोगों को शायद ना पता हो, एक आंख से क्रिकेट भी खेली. इनका एक एक्सीडेंट हो गया था कार का और इनका जब एक्सीडेंट हुआ तो ही लॉस्ट वन आई, लेकिन उसके बाद भी उन्होंने एक आंख से इंडिया को कैप्टन भी किया, क्रिकेट भी खेली. इनके साथ एक और एक क्रिकेटर थे कॉलिन मिलबर्न नॉर्थहैम्पटन के, उनके साथ भी इस तरह ही हुआ कि एक आंख के कार के क्रैश के अंदर उनकी एक आंख चली गई. तो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग इंटरव्यू है. तो इनका जब मैंने सवाल इनको बड़ा वहीं से किया क्योंकि सारे कहते हैं टाइगर, तो मैंने इस सवाल किया, मैं कहा भाई वाई डू दे कॉल यू टाइगर. तो जब ये मैंने सवाल किया तो ये देखें जवाब क्या देते हैं.
It had nothing to do with cricket and it had nothing to do with shooting. I think my parents probably felt that as a very young fellow I was crawling and prowling a bit too early. But it was a nickname given when I was very young. And it has nothing to do, most people think it's got something to do with cricket, but it hasn't at all.
Now, you were only 21 when you were given the responsibility of leading India after Nari Contractor's injury against Griffith.
That's right.
How did you cope with that?
Well, to begin with, it was by default, you see, because I wasn't meant to be captain. I think the idea was that Nari would captain for a few years, and then if I kept my place in the team, I'd take over. But poor fellow got injured, and I was pitched into this, and there were one or two senior players who should have got the job, but didn't get it. There were one or two who were actually not pleased about it, obviously, as you can imagine. But generally I got a lot of support because there were a lot of youngsters in that team also. So I think I was very lucky in that sense that support was forthcoming. And I think the best way to captain in that kind of situation is not to worry.
Did you think that Charlie Griffith was really quick?
When he wanted to be, yes, he was very, very fast, yes.
And would he have been the fastest you ever faced?
He probably would have been when he wanted to be, but I've faced one or two as quick. I mean, people like Wes Hall or Andy Roberts was pretty sharp. Freddie Truman earlier on was pretty quick. When you're talking about bowling at 90 miles an hour or 92 miles an hour, it doesn't make that much difference.
Interesting answer, because during that period, nobody used to wear any helmets.
No, nobody did. No, you're right. And that is why, I mean, poor Nari Contractor got so badly injured. We had two major operations and he's got a steel plate in his head. And if he'd worn a helmet, he might have played longer.
Is it true that there's a lot of saying that you might have played cricket too long for India?
Well, yes, so I felt so, in the sense that my last series, which was in 74, 75, I hadn't played serious cricket for a couple of years. But then the then captain, Ajit Vadekar, retired, and the selection committee asked me to captain. And I asked them a straightforward question. I said, listen, do you want me to captain or do you want me to bat? Because I can't bat, but I can captain if you want. And they said, no, we want you to captain. So I said, fair enough. So don't expect any runs from me, but you will expect reasonable captaincy. So in that sense, I played too long, but I think the last series that we played against a strong West Indies side, which we lost 3-2 in the last test, was one of the best series that India has played. So, yes, I did play too long, but yes, I did serve my purpose.
But then wouldn't you compare yourself with later on what Mike Braley was doing for England?
I think, no. I think Mike Braley perhaps had a more difficult part to play, in the sense that his team had really gone to pieces. And there were one or two players in that team who were perhaps difficult to handle. We won't mention who. And he did pretty well doing that. And I didn't have anybody in the side who was difficult to handle.
Why is it, Tiger, that both in Pakistani and Indian cricket, there's a lot of intrigue.
Oh, I think you'll find there's plenty of intrigue in the West Indies, in South Africa, in England, everywhere. You'll find there's intrigue, unfortunately, intrigue in politics in most sports, and especially in sports where there's money involved. You will find petty politics and intrigue, and I don't think you should limit it to the subcontinent at all.
But we seem to have a lot of provincialism there.
Well, we're a big country with a lot of provinces, so that enters certainly. We have regionalism involved. You do in England also, for instance, although it's on a much smaller scale. I mean, you've got people from the south, you've got the home counties who seem to be preferred to some of the northern counties, or they used to be anyway when I was playing, or people said they were. And so I think you'll find there's a bit of politics everywhere, not only in India.
Do you have any regrets
About?
in cricket?
Actually, my only regret is that I played all my cricket with one eye. I wish I had two eyes. I might have done slightly better.
Now, you had a serious accident in 1961.
Yes.
Did that affect you?
Oh, I think so. I think it affected me physically in the sense that it's difficult to judge distance with one eye. It certainly made me much tougher and more willing to adapt and play. I said, no, I'm not going to give up. I want to play cricket. But physically, certainly it makes a difference because you can't actually judge the distance where the ball is pitching. You can judge the line pretty well, but not where the ball is pitching. So you have to adjust a lot. In that sense, it made a difference, yes.
There's a school of people who say that Ranji, he lost his eye in 1911 in a shooting accident. Yeah. And they say he was still one of the greatest cricketers, yet he never made a century, whereas you made 6 centuries after your accident.
Well, I don't think we should compare anybody with Ranji. He was cricket. He put India on the cricketing map. In fact, he put India on the map in many ways. So I think we leave that question out completely.
Now, what were your ambitions that you could not fulfill or you fulfilled in cricket?
I think there was no sort of particular ambition as such. I mean, there wasn't a sort of a sight that I'd set, or a goal that I'd set for myself. It was just, one captains one's country, which is a great honor. It was also a great headache. One played for one's country, which was a great honor. And I think that's more than enough, as far as I was concerned.
And what about life?
Well, life is just, I'm not a particularly ambitious person. I mean, in the sense that, again, one hasn't actually got a goal as such. One takes life as it comes. And you get your rough edges and you get your ups and downs and so on. But I don't think you can say that one, or I certainly haven't set a goal that in 1998 I will be this, in 1990, so on, 99 I will be so-and-so. No, not at all. But it's just that, one wants to be happy, one wants to be relaxed, one wants to not get involved in sort of certain situations where people are in many ways involved in India because it's a developing country. In that sense, I'm very lucky. I've got a job. A lot of people don't have it. I have a family, a nice family. They're nice to me. And I think I've been fairly lucky in that sense.
Now, why have you stayed aloof from Indian cricket?
I've stayed away from Indian active cricket in that sense, or active administration, because it was one of the earlier questions you asked, because there is a certain amount of politics, and frankly I don't wish to get involved. But I do take an interest through a sports magazine, which I edit, and that keeps me in touch with cricket throughout the world, and in India especially. And so I'm not out of touch. Earlier on I was the match referee for the Ashes this year between England and Australia. So one's in touch with players and one is in touch with cricket, but I'm not involved in administration because I don't want to get involved in the politics.
Yes, because again, coming back to this cynical school who say that people like yourself, Imran and Sunil Gavaskar, they've been great cricketers of their times. Now, why don't they actually come back and help administer or perhaps adopt a role where youngsters or people can benefit from them?
Well, I think this question you should ask Imran or Sunil, why they don't do it. As far as I'm concerned, I've given you my answer. And I think I'll add to that, there are a lot of cricketers in India who are quite capable of administration. And just because a person doesn't do it, doesn't mean that it will not get administrated.
During your period, there wasn't a lot of money around in the game. And these days, there's a hell of a lot of money. Do you think it's good, or are the players being spoiled?
No, I think there's obviously nothing wrong with having money. I think it's a very good idea. It should not be misused. My objection has always been that cricketers call themselves professionals. Fine. Unfortunately, some of them get involved in a bit of commercialism. Nothing wrong with that either, except that your first job is to play cricket. Now, if you can do both, earn money and play cricket, because a lot of money in India is made outside cricket, is made in advertising and so on. If you can, or writing books or writing articles and so on, if you can put both together, like Sunil did, for instance, then it's fine. And if you can't put both together, concentrate on both, then I think you're letting yourself down. In that sense, I tend to agree with a lot of people who say that money has spoiled cricketers, but I can give a lot of examples where it hasn't. And so if you can do both, good luck to you. If you can't, then be careful.
But modern day cricket has seen a lot of players get very greedy.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Once you start getting money, I mean, there's no end to it. But it spoils the game also. And it spoils yourself, it spoils your person also. So you have to be careful about that. It's up to you entirely. I mean, I've got no objection at all. I'm glad people are making money.
Now, as an observer these days, what do you think of Kapil Dev? Was he an actual match winner?
Well, a match winner. I think you'll find that he was a great entertainer. I don't think India has won any matches, any more matches when he was playing than when he wasn't playing, if you see what I mean. So I wouldn't say he was a great match winner. I think he's done more for cricket in that sense, where entertainment is involved. Also, he's the most successful all-rounder the world has ever produced. But the ratio of the matches played to the ratio that India has won when he's been playing, if you check it out, will not be many more than when he wasn't playing.
Who was your favorite cricketer during your playing days?
No, my favorite cricketer has always been Richie Benaud. But I played against him, but never in a test match. I liked his bowling, I liked his attitude towards cricket, and I think he's the first person who actually, not the first, maybe Frankie Worrell also. He got his team together and put their act together really well. And I remember that 61 series, I think it was when he won the match up at Old Trafford, was it? When he bowled England out, when Ted Dexter played a wonderful innings.
That's right.
And no, I think he would have beaten my favorite cricketer, yes.
And who's been your favorite cricketer after you left cricket?
I think Vivian Richards, probably. Most entertaining that I've seen.
And why?
Most entertaining. I go to watch a match, I want to be entertained. If I pay money, which I don't, fortunately, to enter a ground, I would like to be entertained.
Now, in 1961, we saw a very serious accident. How much did it actually affect your playing career?
Oh, a good 30-40%, I'd imagine. It was hard work getting back. I didn't find it difficult on good wickets. I had a lot of problems on if the wicket was turning, because one couldn't judge the length, and if you get beaten by the length, the turn will beat you very easily. So I was in trouble against the best spinners, like Lance Gibbs or Derek Underwood, or against the best fast bowlers. But in between, I was okay.
At the age of 15, I believe you came over to England and played county cricket. What did you learn apart from playing from Oxford in county cricket?
I played my first county match when I was, I think, 16 or 17. One learnt, I think, because one was playing, let's say, 30 matches in the year or 32 matches, that it was a question of county cricket taught you consistency in many ways, which wasn't great for cricket because it became a bit boring. But people were working out, the whole season. They weren't working out match by match. They worked out the percentages, and it was percentage cricket. Certainly in the 50s when I played, in early 60s. And playing percentage cricket, what happened was that you lost all the viewership, and you suddenly started having empty grounds, which is when people fought 3 times and brought in the Gillette Cup and the one-day limited overs matches. But it was basically the fact that over a period of, let's say, 6 months or 5 months or a period of 5 years, you would succeed if you did this. So in that sense, it was consistent but boring. You would get 1 wicket every 10 overs. I mean, that was it. And that was doing fairly well. You worked out the whole, if you bowled 1,000 overs, you would get 100 wickets. And you started losing characters because of this consistency. I mean, then obviously later on you got Ian Botham, then you did have, of course, people like Ted Dexter and Peter May and so on. But county cricket became boring. And which is why, there's one reason why, there are of course other reasons why you suddenly found a lot of people not watching county cricket.
During that period, you had the opportunity of captaining Oxford, Sussex, and then later on India. Now, being captain of 3 different teams, how was your stance?
It was very difficult because there were 3 different ways of captaining. In Oxford, you captain as a captain, in the sense that, you said, do it, and they did it. Sussex, they were professionals, and we didn't have to tell them to do it, because they knew better what to do than you did.
ये थे टाइगर पटौडी, मंसूर अली खान, और अपने बेटे के मुतालिक भी बताया उन्होंने, जो कि बहुत बड़ा एक्टर है इंडिया के अंदर, सैफ अली खान, और ऑफ कोर्स उनकी बीवी, बल्कि इनकी बीवी जो थी वो पिछले, अगर आपने बीच में इंटरव्यू देखा तो शर्मिला टैगोर पिछले कमरे में थी। तो जब मैंने कुकिंग का पूछा तो यू नो हाउ ही आंसर द क्वेश्चन, बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग है, क्लासिक है, particularly कि मंसूर अली खान is no more with us, he's passed away, but at least for the cricket lover, it doesn't matter where he is, जो cricket lover है वो हमेशा कोई ना कोई अपने हीरो को और अपने क्रिकेटर्स को हमेशा क्यूरोसिटी होती है कि बैकग्राउंड क्या है, और particularly somebody like मंसूर अली खान, कि क्या बताया कि एक जेंटलमैन्स का एक दरवाज़ा होता था, एक प्रोफेशनल्स का दरवाज़ा होता था, ये अब वो नहीं है वो, लेकिन इनके ज़माने में, इनके वालिद भी क्रिकेट खेलते थे, इनके ज़माने में ये जो क्रिकेट थी, आई थिंक इट वाज अ गुड नैरेटिव. Look after yourself, look after the interest of Pakistan, and of course at the same time please subscribe to the channel, get your friends to tell कि ये इंटरव्यू, और भी कई इंटरव्यूज़ हैं, हनीफ मोहम्मद के भी यहाँ पढ़े हैं, बड़े अच्छे इंटरव्यूज़ हैं, तो प्लीज़ लुक इनटू इट. और मैं आपके सामने एक इंटरव्यू एक आदमी का लाऊंगा, द ओल्डेस्ट लिविंग फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेटर, पाकिस्तान के लिए भी ईगलेट्स के लिए गए हुए, ये इनका भी इंटरव्यू मैं आपके सामने लेके आऊँगा, अब्दुल डायर, ही इज़ अबाउट 85-86, एंड इनके पास भी जो ज़ख़ीरा है क्रिकेट का, बहुत कीमती ज़ख़ीरा है, ये भी आप देखेगा. खुदा हाफ़िज़.